Morning, everybody. These are some of the beautiful grounds at Golden Pond Retirement Residence, and here's Ralph with his next blog.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining in. I want to talk today about the service of retirement homes, what they do, and more importantly, what they do not. We find there's a big difference in one and the other, and what people think they do, which they actually don't. For that reason, I think it is crucial to get involved and find out for yourself and visit your favorite home and find out for yourself what I'm talking about here now. In my book, I'm coining a phrase which goes something like, the retirement home industry is the only industry which consistently caters to its customers a service they don't need, and vice versa. The customer expects a service they don't provide. How is it that there's such a vast difference between the two? Well, we talked last time about the timing, and of course that relates very close to that. People are naturally waiting too long to come to a retirement home, and as a result, health issues arises. And at any given time, when people think mom is ready to come to a retirement home, the list of ailments is half a mile long, and they are surprised to find out that retirement homes actually do not provide all that care which is necessary to look after mom today. At the same time, of course, I have to be careful even using the word care, because care is not what retirement homes provide. What they do provide is assistance. Assistance with daily living, and there's a term for it, ADL, activities of daily living. That is what retirement homes provide, aside from being fed properly, aside from medication management, which is really a fancy word for looking after mom's medication to be taken in the right dose and at the right time, and some social activities, in-house, out-house, out-of-the-house trips, etc., etc. Retirement homes do not provide care, in that if care is provided for any length of time during the day or repeatedly on a day-to-day basis, then this is clearly not the mandate. Yet people do not understand this. It is, of course, understandable that they'll keep mom living at home for as long as they can. The view is that every month at home it saves me a month of rent being paid, and that's understandable. But the result, of course, is that at one point, well, it is simply not possible anymore for mom to come into a retirement home. And if conditions continue, it's nursing home time, as simple as that. And that is, of course, not really what family had in mind. So again, I'm urging you, if you're in a situation like that, to look at retirement home living earlier on, and not when the list of ailments and health issues are such that retirement homes are really not staffed to look after that. You talk about home care too at a later time. I just want to bring in at this point that retirement homes also provide additional assistance in terms of additional staff being assigned or even hired for mom. But you can imagine that the price tag here is charged separately. It's charged separate and outside of the rent, and here the clock starts ticking very fast. A mere 20 minutes dedicated for mom alone in additional services 3 times a day would amount to about $1,000 in extra charges a month. As simple as that. As long as we have as a society the mindset that mom's services needs to be paid for, and heavily paid for, there's no way out. Someone has to bear that cost. I want to talk about also some of the pitfalls of staying too long at home, as I pointed out last time, because simply the burden on a retirement home operator to look after mom adequately is slimming by the day the older she is. So having that said, it is also of importance to know that staying at home may be not all that much good in any way and form. The retirement home industry has evolved now into a different kind of animal, which was not the case a few years ago. A simple, let's say 10 years ago, every retirement home basically did the same thing. It provided assistance along with proper meals and perhaps medication. That has changed. We have now a vast array of retirement home services which were unheard of a few years ago. The emphasis is being the catering to services, providing services which are not health related, and that's probably not known to many people. I call it in my book, I call it full-time resort-style living. There are all kinds of amenities being offered today, especially larger homes, approaching 100, 200, 300 residents. And that's being copied from the States, of course. I have seen in the States residences which houses 1,000 seniors. And as you can imagine, there are a host of services and amenities being offered one can only dream of. Now this is the retirement home industry of the future. So if you think that retirement homes are privately paid for, or nursing homes, or perhaps an extended arm of the nursing home, this is simply not so. Now, at the same time, it must be said that some homes do offer those services, and we, for instance, we are a small mom and pop outfit, but we do have 2 nurses on staff. So as you can imagine, yes, we do offer perhaps more care or more assistance than other homes do. For instance, one good example is dress code. Newer homes, bigger homes, require dress code for you to go to the dining room. As you can imagine, just the picture these homes are painting of themselves does not sit well with somebody who needs assistance. Simple as that. There are other typical ailments which are shunned upon. For instance, these homes, if mom has a tendency and becomes incontinent, a very, very common thing, they do point you the other way and say goodbye. So it is really hard for family members to accept the fact that all these ailments are not necessarily what a retirement home does provide. So this comes as a surprise for many, I'm sure. Okay. On the other hand, I would like to point out some of the positive things. One of the biggest issues we have with elderlies living at home is the aspect of loneliness. And here, of course, retirement homes shine. The mere fact that they're coming in here, living with others together, can mingle and play games and socialize is a great, great relief for the one living otherwise at home. So this is one big thing. Another one is, which is really rarely talked about, is medication intake. No matter which way you slice it, mom does not look after her own medication intake very well, despite what she's telling you. We see time and again that health conditions improve once people come here and we are looking after proper medication intake at the proper time. That in itself is a big advantage. But there's a bigger one yet to follow. The observation of medication intake. Soon as medication is changed from a doctor having different ideas of what to take and how to take, how many to take, we observe the resident of the effects of medication. That has a big impact. And we also stay in touch with residents' doctors as to the feedback on that. And this is a really, really a fact which cannot be overemphasized how important that is. because mom would not be able to do that on her own, where she to live at home. So these are some of the great advantages, if you wish, of living in a retirement home. But I also have to point out this is only applies for people who can afford it. So I think we should wrap it up for today. I highlighted some of the advantages and perhaps disadvantages, if you wish, or services which are routinely not supplied by retirement homes. And I believe we will speak next time a little bit about, I don't know, rates and perhaps home care, and then slowly we will move on to the subject of alternative housing options. So thank you for joining me in today. Again, as you know, you can buy my book anytime you want to on Amazon or any bookstore if you ask for it. The title is And Where Do We Live When We Get Old? And it's perhaps you can also Google it and find my name and can order it from there. And that will also point out key options I will talk about and how the entire retirement home industry is geared up today. Thank you again for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.